Hi everyone, and welcome back. This is a current video. This is now. I haven't released a video for a week or two, as in a new video. So I thought I'll just update everyone on what's going on, and we'll look at where we're going next with some things. I actually was here last week, and I was here with John, and we haven't seen John on the channel, and I haven't seen John for maybe 7 or 8 months, so it was really nice to see John. I brought him down to the garage and we were working on his Triumph, and I had such a great day. John had such a great day. Danny was here, Rabjab was here, and we worked on that thing, and it runs beautifully. I mean, I knew it did anyway. The last videos we put out was the Triumph running really well on the single carb. On the Duke, I'm going to put on the original exhaust for no reason except I prefer the sound, or the lack of sound, and the way it runs. It runs richer. So I'm going back. I just need an exhaust gasket to be able to put it back, so I'm not doing that today. And the old Satilis, I've had kind of people show interest. I've had lots and lots of messers. I've possibly got a genuine buyer coming and viewing today. If he doesn't view today, I think he wants a delivery done. We're currently in negotiations as to what's best to do with delivery. You see, I insist people come and view bikes first. I kind of don't care how far they are, because actually it's one side or the other. They either jump on a train and come and meet me and view, or I have to push this into a van and take it to them in hope that they buy it for the price we've agreed. So I don't mess with that. I say to them, come and view the bike and we'll discuss everything else, including delivery. If they absolutely insist that they just want delivery, then I take a deposit. 200 is the most I've ever taken, and 200 is the deposit I've asked on this occasion, because the delivery is in Bath. So it would be a 6-hour day for me in a SIP van. 6 hours in a SIP van is 90 quid, blah, blah, blah. So yeah, so he can pay a £200 deposit. I will chuck that in a van. I'll take it up to him. However, if he haggles or refuses to buy, and it's not because I've messed up on description or anything, then he has to buy at the price agreed, or he loses the 200 deposit. And that, you know, I've never done that, by the way. It's never happened. On occasion, when I sold Steve's DNA a few months back, I took that really far. I think it was to Bristol, and the battery died when we got there, and annoyingly I'd fired it up just before, and that battery was great for months, but it went, so I sent him back 50 quid just to change the battery. That's kind of what I do if it's my fault. So the Triumph runs beautifully. You might have seen a short this week of me riding it up and down. You might have thought it was an old short. It wasn't. It was a brand new modern short from last weekend. And I'll fire it up for you tomorrow. I'm down the garage properly tomorrow. I'll fire it up tomorrow. I'll show you that it starts second or third kick max, and I'll explain what was wrong. I'll explain what was wrong now anyway. So last time I ran this bike, it ran beautifully, and we all saw that. And I'd put a TR6 head on. Now anyone who knows me knows that I don't have a clue about old classics, okay, so this was all new to me. But ultimately, instead of the twin carb head, I looked for ages for a 2-in-1 manifold for the 120 head, and I couldn't find one. And then it came up on a forum, just put the TR6 head, it's a direct swap, and that's exactly what I did. And this bike runs so well. I did all the valves, I reset them, I dropped all the valves out, I cleaned them and put them all back in. This is the Wassau carb. It's brand new. It's a premium carb. Honestly, the quality at this stage for me, with my limited knowledge, is it's stunning. It's great. It's cleanable. It's manageable. it works so well. So I'm very happy with the Wassell, although I have 2 good amals in there that we could always use. So I'm very happy with this conversion. Purists don't like this. But I've kept the head. I've got the original head in the garage. I've got the 2 Wassells and I've got the 2 amals that are working and clean. I've got every piece. I've even got the original points, and I've got the original airbox and the original back panels. Every part I've got. So purists will have something if needed. Look at that old fuel. Varnish. Now here was the problem. This is why it wouldn't start, right? The panel that used to be here had the ignition in it, yeah? And whatever happened, all of the wires fell off the ignition. They fell off. And I just put them back how I thought. And then we'd lost spark. I didn't know it. All the lights and everything came on, but I didn't have spark. And I didn't really realise that. And it wouldn't start. So I thought, oh, we're back to all the carb and engine issues. I can't be asked. Then me and John threw this back together, worked it out, found spark again, and it fired up. Honestly, it fired up second kick, but we haven't got a choke on this bike, so, and you can't rev it because it's not ready. So it kind of kicks over second kick, then you've got to do a third and fourth, and just let it, you don't even throttle it, you just let it do itself. And then from there, it warms up and it runs absolutely stunning. And I will show you that tomorrow. Now, what's left to do on this bike is, again, I don't know much about it, but the older bikes had rounder panels here, okay, rounder, and our ones were squarer. We need to get the rounder panels, which were before the oiling frame, and we need to put the ignition back into that full time so that it's not arcing with the frame and messing around. So that needs to be seated. They're about 80 quid, I think they're fiberglass. My problem is I just can't work out how you seat them. I think it sits in there and in maybe in there, or I think some of them clip onto the carbs, so I need to kind of work all that out. Otherwise, riding, stunning bike. Even if I can't work out the gears and the brakes at the same time, my brain won't let me. I can change gear, but I can't rear brake, or I can rear brake, but I can't change gear because it's opposites. Now the CB200, I haven't given up on it. I've done lots of thinking about it. I don't want people thinking I've given up on it. Last week I found a new engine for it, and I was discussing that with John, and he convinced me not to. He said, Charlie, why end up with another frame and engine? He said to call David Silver, and he'll have someone who will refurbish this top end. I'll send the whole top end off. They'll refurbish the whole top end, send it back. I think he's right. It needs honing out. It needs new piston rings to fit the new bore, and I want all the valves taken out, cleaned, reseated, or refreshed. I'd prefer a new cam lobe to go in, and then this thing could be all good and back to normal. So I haven't given up on it. It's just a timing thing. It's just really hard to kind of squeeze all the projects in, and actually the funds don't exist at this garage. They go on to the next thing every time. So at the moment there's not a penny, absolutely not a penny. I'm waiting for that to sell for us to be able to move on. Hopefully this guy messages today. For today, I thought I came in, I sold a pair of clocks for the phaser yesterday or the day before, and I'm dead set. I had 2 pairs of clocks, and I advertised 2 pairs of clocks on eBay, and then when I was in here the other day I could only find one, which is fine, the guy only bought one, but it just wound me up that we're getting a bit messy in here again. We're just getting a bit back to where I tried to move away from. So normally it consists, like I've got kayaking equipment in here, and then, you know, old bikes, as in pedal bikes, stuff like that. Normally that stuff just needs to be pushed to the back and neatened as much as possible, so that the other stuff can exist. So I'm going to do a bit of cleaning and clearing. Anything that can go on eBay, we'll put it on eBay. Look, I've got a whole exhaust system there for the KTM. So if it can go on eBay, it can go on eBay, and might even make a few pounds. So that's that. In a week or two, we'll go back to kind of, I'll get a project. If this sells, I'll get a project immediately. I've got something else lined up. I would want a project bike, but I've got a project car lined up, and it is one of the coolest things in the world. John's hooked me up with that, but I would need to get it in the next couple of weeks because it's going on the scrap pile otherwise, and I think I can save it. So I've got a potential car project coming up. Right, really sorry, it's just a long-winded intro, but it just tells you what's going on here, and we'll be back on track as soon as that sells. We'll be back on track. We'll go out there and get a project.
A few moments later.
We're getting there. This side's much cleaner. Why wouldn't I look inside this jiffy bag for the clock I was looking for? I was in here the other night for about 20 minutes looking for that. Okay, so it's all good. Yeah, this side's hard to tell, but this side's clearer and kind of tucked in a bit more. That's all good. In fact, actually, it does look a lot clearer. I'm going to carry on. Why it's not raining and why I'm not doing anything else. That can go on eBay. I think I put it up for 50 quid. That's a link pipe for 390 or 125 up to 2016 KTM. And I think that's it for now. Let's keep neatening away. So it might seem silly, but it's all part of the experience. Clearing up the garage and just neatening and putting things aside makes such a big difference for functionality. It's a shame that I happen to be a kayaker, so I mix things up. I've actually shoved everything into the kayak itself, so that's good planning there.